Welcome to a discussion intended for smaller tribes who would like to apply for Title IV-B grant funding for the first time, or for those tribes who already receive a Title IV-B Subpart 1 grant of less than $10,000. As you will learn in the guide, Title IV-B Subpart 1 provides funding to promote tribal and state flexibility in developing and expanding a coordinated child and family services program. These funds are meant to address the following topics: protect and promote the welfare of all children, prevent the neglect, abuse, or exploitation of children, support at-risk families through services that allow children, where appropriate, to remain safely with their families or return to their families in a timely manner, promote the safety, permanency, and well-being of children in foster care and adoptive families, and provide training, professional development, and support to ensure a well-qualified workforce. Tribes often wonder if receiving the Title IV-B grant obligates them to operate a full child welfare program, but it does not. There are many small tribes that do not operate their own foster care program. In these instances, the tribal program will have less to write in their Title IV-B plan and will only be required to provide information on how they coordinate with the state for those services. Accepting Title IV-B grant funding does not make tribes ineligible to receive services and supports offered by the state. Even with modest grant funding, the tribe can still refer their families to state child welfare services to provide for the larger programming and service needs of families when the tribe cannot. As the tribal program develops their goals and objectives for the Title IV-B Child and Family Service Plan, commonly referred to as the CFSP, and the Annual Progress and Services Report, or APSR, the Children's Bureau will want to know how 4B grant funds might be used. It is important to keep in mind that the amount of the allocation may inform how many goals and objectives are reasonable for the tribal program to accomplish with limited funding. For example, if your tribe receives less than $4,000 in grant funds, then perhaps the tribal program can only fund one goal and objective. If you receive more, the tribal program could consider adding additional goals. A few ideas for a single goal that other small tribes have shared include having a Community Child Abuse Awareness Month event in April, using funds solely for concrete support services and crisis intervention, and developing a resource closet for families in need. To learn more about developing the goals and objectives, please refer to Section 5 of the guide. Let's take, for example, how a goal of developing a community resource closet for the child welfare program might look in terms of allowable Title IV-B grant costs. Tribes have shared with us that they use funds to purchase and keep on hand items for distribution when there is an identified need for a family. Items can include such things as smoke or carbon monoxide detectors, first aid kits, fire extinguishers, head lice kits, bug bombs, cleaning supplies, cribs, and car seats. If a tribal program uses grant funding to develop a resource closet, they can use an inventory tracking form to ensure that all purchases are tracked, that they support the intent and purposes of the grant, and that they are solely used by the child welfare program. An example of a blank inventory distribution form that can easily be adapted for your tribal program can be found in the appendices of the guide. If other tribal departments want to use the resource closet for their families, they would be required to share in the costs of creating the closet, stocking it with supplies, maintaining the supplies, and tracking their use. When tribes with smaller populations are considering whether to apply for Title IV-B grant funding, they often report potential barriers to implementing the Title IV-B grant and express concerns about whether the estimated 4B grant allotment is a good use of tribal resources. Most notably, tribes report workforce issues as a significant challenge, such as frequent turnover, limited staff, and the amount of time staff spend in training that takes away from their other duties. Tribes with smaller populations also report that the administrative requirements present significant challenges, such as limited time to write the grant application, meet the reporting requirements, and the time needed to administer and meet the tribe's goals of the grant. As your tribe considers the potential barriers and tribal resources involved in implementing a Title 4B grant, we encourage you to consider asking your regional program specialist to share ideas and examples of goals and objectives that have been written by other tribes. The specialist can assist with identifying achievable goals given your tribe's size and its staffing capacity. Title 4B grants are flexible, so your tribe need only include a goal and objective that makes sense in light of your tribe's potential barriers and limited resources. Tribal programs should only take on what they believe they have the capacity to manage. Many tribes have shared that an additional benefit of being a Title 4B grantee is access to no-cost technical assistance provided by the Capacity Building Center for Tribes. Technical assistance can be a real asset when building infrastructure and addressing capacity and resource challenges. Tribes often report that this technical assistance can be an even greater benefit to the tribe than the modest grant funding. If you would like to learn more about the technical assistance, please refer to Section 13 of the guide. If tribal program staff would like additional support with the topics we just discussed, we encourage you to reach out to the regional program office. Other tribes with experience administering Title 4B grant funds can be another great source of information, as well as an additional resource for service ideas.